Hello, my name is Andrew, and today we're going to be talking about the secret hack I've been using to keep my high meat fermentation 100% mold free on a raw primal diet. So if you don't know, high meat is essentially where you take raw meat and then you ferment it in a canning jar, and you can do it in the fridge or you could do it at room temperature. And when I first started out, I heard that doing it in the fridge was safer, so I tried it, but it just took so long to get any kind of fermentation going that it just wasn't worth it. And what I realized is that if I wanted to have raw meat or raw high meat every single day, I'd probably have to have like 600 canning jars going in the fridge, So I started fermenting it at room temperature, and this is much better because it took only about a week to 2 weeks to get to the point where I wanted it. And like I've mentioned in my other videos, at that point it just becomes like freaking rocket fuel, because the food is broken down and it's very easy to access. It takes much less time for your body to go through the raw meat when it's been fermented, but unlike cooking, it doesn't denature it. So it essentially stays in the same forms that your body recognizes. It just breaks it into smaller pieces. However, the one problem about fermenting at room temperature is that mold likes things warm. And so I found that I was getting like a little layer of mold, after maybe even 3 to 4 days, which is annoying. And it wasn't a big deal. I could just kind of scrape it off and I never got sick. I even tried eating some of the moldy meat just to see what it would taste like and see what effect it would have on me. And, I still didn't get sick, but it just didn't taste good. Mold has kind of like a grassy, bitter flavor, and it just kind of ruined the experience, culinarily speaking. Then a couple weeks ago, I noticed something really interesting. I had been fermenting separately, like different organs, different muscle meats, like heart and liver and kidney, all in different canning jars. And every single one of them had a tendency to develop mold on the surface of the canning jar, no matter what I did, whether I filled it like half full or, all the way full, or left the jar a little bit loose, or, tightened it or put it in another container, except for liver. I just noticed that liver, for some reason, never developed mold. And it didn't matter how long it went either. I could go for an entire month and the liver wouldn't have a single bit of mold on it. Plus, it just seemed to ferment really fast, like in maybe a day to 2 days, it was already starting to taste tangy, whereas the muscle meats and other organs hadn't even developed a flavor at all at that point. So like, what's going on here? And I was thinking about liver and some of the things that are special about it, and one of the things that's known for is being really high in copper. And that made me think of the naturopath that I've been working with for the past few years, Karen, because one of the first things she told me, it might have been even in our first session, she was describing how copper is antibacterial and zinc is antiviral. So I started to develop this like theory in my mind that maybe it was the high level of copper in the liver that was preventing the mold from taking hold. And then I thought, what if instead of fermenting all of my meats separately, which is basically what I've seen everyone else doing, whether it's Ajahn Vanderplanet, in his books or his videos or any of the other raw primal videos on YouTube, like everyone is always fermenting their meats separately. What if I combine them? What if I took all of the meats that I'm fermenting them, put them in one canning jar for, per serving for each meal, and then mixed a bunch of liver in there? And as you can see, not a single bit of mold. This has been fermenting at room temperature for 4 days, I think. And the other thing that's really nice about it is that liver seems to make things ferment faster, the other meats, because you can see there's quite a lot of liquid there. So I think this actually helps all of the beneficial bacteria circulate around the high meat fermentation. And liver breaks down really fast, so it turns into more and more liquid as it goes. It smells amazing. Like most meats just have kind of like a cheesy, kind of funky smell. But high liver becomes tangy, and so much so that it actually smells like strawberry jam. So it lends this almost like desserty, ice creamy flavor to the other meats. And yeah, like I just think about this stuff all day long, like between meals. I'm not even hungry, but I'm just like so excited to have it again because it's like the energy, it's very easy to digest, just like flourishing with beneficial bacteria. The flavor is rich and amazing, especially when you combine it with some raw butter and maybe a little teaspoon of raw honey. God, it's just the most satisfying food that I've ever had, because it's high fat, it's high protein, it's low carb, but it's pre-broken down. So again, just complete rocket fuel. Anyways, that's my favorite hack for doing high meat on a raw primal diet. But if you'd like to learn more, you can watch my raw primal what I eat in a day video. And if you have a question about making high meat or about natural health in general, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.